All right. Yo, what's good, everybody? I'm Trey.
It's your boy Million.
And you have tuned into the Listening to Millions podcast.
I promise you this is deeper than just a podcast. Come sit down with us.
And today, we have the 2019-2020
2020.
FVA, 2020-2021 Fort Valley State University former SGA student body president, Alexander Lowe. Introduce yourself, man.
What's up, everyone? I am, as he said, Alexander Benjamin Lowe. For Fort Valley State University's sake, I am your past Student Government Association president. A little personal note about me, I love to dance. I'm big on education, leadership, technology, and being the best person I can be. Let's go.
And he's the worst hooper in this room right now. I just want to put that on record.
I ain't gonna lie.
I have the best defense.
I ain't gonna lie.
I'm the best player in the room right now.
I ain't gonna lie. That nigga Trey trash.
I'm the best player in the room. Don't let nobody know.
I ain't gonna lie. This nigga Trey trash.
Oh, listen, I am definitely not the best player in the room, but I have the best defense.
Alex, who's the best out of us two? Tell me I think we're undefeated together.
I already have the answer. Oh, me and you?
No.
Think about it.
Out of us two, who's the best? Who's the best hooper in the room right now?
You two?
Yeah.
I already answered this question.
So answer it right now.
It hasn't changed.
Answer it on camera.
On camera, it's Trey. It's still Trey. The question is who is the best hooper, not who plays the best. Million plays better than Trey does, but Trey is a better hooper.
How in the fuck? You can't sit here and act like...
Does LeBron play like the best player all the time?
Give me my motherfucking dab! Hey, if
I'm
you
still the
compare
best.
Me to if you compare me to LeBron James, I'm cool with that. I don't even care.
I'm still the best hooper in the room. That's all that matters.
That's really cap. Because if you really think about it, Alex, we played twos with Eric, the best shooter on campus, one of the best shooters on campus, and we beat them.
This is fact.
We beat them. Like, that jump was crazy. We beat a couple of people.
We did do that. But we have more hustle than a lot of people.
We're just golden.
But all they got is hustle and stats.
We're just golden. We're just golden.
Hustle doesn't tell me at the end of the day that I'm better than everybody. I just have hustle.
Everybody in Fort Valley, I guarantee you, me and Alex will match up with you.
No, they won't.
We can compete. We can definitely compete.
After the first game, they gotta wear you down, bro. They like Mike Tyson.
Nah,
I don't want the smoke. I don't want the smoke.
Cap. Hey, but you start out like that. Why do you think I always pick you up? I'll be like, yeah, we're gonna run twos. Because I got Alex.
Because no niggas are ready for my defense. I bring everybody's points down. I bring everybody's averages down.
Hey, bro.
At least, even if you're good, if you shoot, 5 threes, I'm gonna bring you down to like 2 or 1, if any. Because honestly, people don't be passing the ball to the people I guard.
Oh God,
this is
bro. You flying knee kicked somebody. Bro.
I did. I have done a lot of things.
Knee. It was me.
Oh,
it was you?
Yes.
He knee kicked you to the floor?
I'm pretty sure I've hurt everybody I've played basketball with.
That is for sure. I have left with some scars from Alex.
Matter of fact, we was playing with Khalil. He flipped Khalil over him, and Khalil kicked me in my face.
I did flip Khalil. That did happen.
Why are you so aggressive, my guy? Why
am I so aggressive? I don't fully know. It might be genetic, apparently. My dad told me apparently we got like anger issues. Apparently, but then again, I've never had like an incident where like they try to be like, Alex, you got to calm down. Like, so I've never been in a fight or anything. So it's like, so I don't think it's real, or at least I don't know. But
on record, I'm still the best hooper in the room. That's all that matters.
But LeBron James has bro. As long as I'm compared to LeBron James, I'm completely fine.
I think he was comparing me to LeBron.
Who did you compare to LeBron?
Oh dang, he picked up on it, yo. Yeah, I was comparing Trey.
That's hurt. Yeah.
But you're like...
That's pain.
You're like... Who am I going to give you?
It's okay. You like my Dennis Rodman, bro.
Bitch. I I am not your fucking Dennis Rodman.
You like my Dennis Rodman?
I'm not. Trey, I will beat you 1-on-1, bro. I guarantee it. Nobody can fucking go head to head with me, bro. I'm better than a lot of people.
I feel like you.
I just don't get my.
would.
I don't get my props. I hate when people do that.
You don't
shit,
get your
bro.
props. What
I
do
really
you mean?
don't. Like how
can
the fuck,
you get your props when you literally say which one of us is better?
No, listen
There's no
to this.
space to give you props.
How the
then.
fuck can we not have our props, right? If I'm literally sitting here telling you, Alex, me and you together, we have destroyed some of the best couples in basketball, and you're still not giving me my credit as to how the fuck do we pass ain't scoring?
It was not me scoring.
Okay.
I got a couple of putbacks.
After I passed it to you about 10 times.
Let me
This is
just
true.
tell y'all.
This
Just
is
tell y'all.
true. Well,
this for
that's
the
not a
record. This
putback.
for the record.
That's a pass.
They straight. Don't get me wrong.
Trey, you are not good. Trey, you are trash.
I'm a streaky shooter, and when the shot drops,
You're not a shooter. You're not a shooter.
Alex.
I'm sorry, bro. Every time
there
I
have
play
been games where Trey has put 3 shots up. It doesn't happen all the time. I'm not gonna say it's more than not.
You know what it is.
But I've seen this man drop 6 points.
You know, and the 2 times I played his ass, he was straight garbage. So it's just like, hey, that's all I don't know where y'all are getting this is he's a GOAT from or he's good.
I didn't say he's a GOAT.
You
What?
definitely just said he's the best player. You compared him to LeBron James.
No, I said LeBron doesn't play at his maximum level all the time. But that doesn't mean that what makes him the greatest player, quote unquote, because I'm not doing the Michael Jordan, LeBron debate. He doesn't play at 100% all the time.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I'm saying. And I'm saying Trey does not play at his 100% capabilities. The majority of the time, he's walking on the court. He's letting people blow by him. He's not really playing defense that serious. He does play defense sometimes against me because he doesn't want me to get putbacks. But he's not like, I have not seen this man play for real, for real. I have seen you give 100%. I obviously give 100%.
You have not seen me do 100%.
You give more percent than he does. And that is a fact.
I give like 20. Okay though. Lazy buckets.
You're not good, bro. We're about to.
I'm not saying he's good.
We're not good. He's not good.
You are taking the microcosm of our ability, right? Which is like that much. And then literally the rest of the basketball ability is all the way over there.
But
and then there's a lot more trash.
But I'm good at basketball as
I
well.
never said you weren't.
But you're saying that out of all of us, we're just trash. And
What?
then out of the most trash,
I did not
he's
say
the best
all of us are
good
just
trash.
I said
He's the best of the trash.
if you want to call us all trash, then yes.
Yes.
He is the better of all of us trash. If you want to say we're trash. I didn't say we're trash. I'm really close to being trash, if we're being honest.
No, I ain't gonna count.
And you know what?
We are
That's
the
fair.
best.
That's fair. That's fair.
We are the
Because
best.
honestly, it makes sense, right?
Yeah.
The
'Cause,
more I
and
learn-
for like this is coming from a perspective of a trash basketball player, you know. So I can't expect a trash basketball player. I can't expect a trash basketball player to see good basketball
We'll
being
sub
played.
this off camera.
We definitely
What are you
will.
talking about?
Or
We
we
definitely
have a
will.
1-on-1 for the channel.
Shit,
Let me
you
know
don't
if y'all
want to
wanna
do
see
that.
it.
I'll
You
record
don't
it.
wanna do that.
And I'll
You don't
record
wanna
it.
do that
and
shit.
I'll what's it called? I'll be the game master for it or whatever.
Let's do it, bro.
1-on-1 for the channel.
Let's do it, because I guarantee you, Trey, you're gonna be disappointed.
But see, here's the thing. I don't know if Trey, even if we had a 1-on-1, I still don't know if he would give like over 80%.
Hey,
He
Alex,
still might be walking on the.
Hey, Alex, if somebody continues giving you 80% every time you see them, that's their 100%. Let's just be honest. If you haven't seen their 100%,
That's not how that works, unfortunately.
He's a math major. He knows.
anyway, we're going to
Potential
change
is
the
a-
subject because I
potential
am
is a
getting a
thing.
little heated. I am getting a little heated.
Why are you?
Because I hate when
You-
people never give me my props in
I'm
basketball.
a math major. I got leadership experience. We got all this stuff, and y'all want me to talk about basketball.
I know, bro. So go ahead and tell us what keeps you driven, my guy. You do have a lot. First, tell us what is like the things that you do.
Mhm.
So give us a little resume, I guess, and then explain to us because it is a
People
lot.
get-
It is a lot.
I guess.
Or at one point, it was a lot. You know.
Yeah. No,
So
it still probably is. Well, I don't want to be braggy, but I do want to tell my story, I guess, for the sake of people, so they know. So me, I have a lot of leadership experience. Leadership is something that I'm very passionate about. I am an Eagle Scout. I did Boy Scouting growing up, and I completed my Eagle rank. Uh, like I said, I have a student government leadership experience. So I started it as a senator my freshman year in like September. Then was business manager on the executive board, and then served another term as president. At that point, I then there's just other I guess opportunities and things I've just been a part of, different things on campus, Center for Financial Advancement. I'm currently part of the residential leadership community. Um, and I say all that as an aspect of leadership, like the learning of leadership, how to be a good leader, which is, the ability to influence, is something I'm very passionate about, and I've always been very passionate about. What else I do? I guess I would also consider myself kind of that motivational speaker. I guess a digital creator space. I've led a master class on leadership. It's on YouTube under my channel, and that's recorded and that's up there.
Don't forget to say your channel's name. What's the name of the channel?
Oh, my channel it's I am Alexander Lowe. So it's I letter M and then Alexander Lowe. All together, all lowercase, and
Make sure you
that's
guys go subscribe, check them out.
appreciate. Yeah, that's all the socials. It's all the same thing. It's all the same thing. Facebook, Instagram,
and see,
Twitter.
so you're talking a lot about leadership. So
Mhm.
like, what made you want to just become a leader? I guess per se.
That's a really good question. And there's so a lot of this has twofold answers to it because this past year where I had stepped away from everything, um, I spent a lot of time focused on myself instead of other people, which has been a lot of what I've done for a big majority of life. So I've had to reevaluate like why I do the things that I do. But I guess the first part of the question of why I care so much about leadership. I think when I was younger, people might call you a natural born leader or something like that. And then after a while, you're just like, what does that even mean? You start feeling the obligation, I guess, to step up into situations. But I think the biggest thing is that, like I said earlier, I started to love leadership for what it is inherently instead of like this idea of position and stuff. Because I listed a bunch of positions, but I
Mm.
didn't really list like what I've been able to achieve. Like the goal of good leaders is to influence others to achieve, greater feats than they would have been able to achieve by themselves.
Right.
Okay.
That's really the point. And so when you realize that you have a gift or the ability to take a situation, remove the chaos out of it, and provide a level of order and help the group achieve a common goal or something that none of you would have been able to achieve by yourselves.
Mm.
And when you know that you have the ability to do it, it sets you with this kind of state or precedence on yourself where it's like, okay, maybe I should really act on this.
Right.
Because otherwise, if you don't, sometimes the situation just stays the same.
That's one thing that I do read about a lot or hear about is like potential energy. Like a lot of people keep things potential and never make it kinetic because of things like fear. And one thing I've always like seen from you is like, shit, you're a go getter, my guy. Like I'm gonna be honest, we came from the same town, I guess. You was born in Covington,
I
right?
was born and raised in Covington, yes.
Right. I wasn't born and raised in Covington, but we graduated from the same place. And it's like we both know, like, we always talk about, like, how we grew up around, I guess, white people and shit
Yep.
like that and didn't know how to talk to black people. But when I seen on Instagram, because at the time I was at Georgia State, when I seen on Instagram that you like becoming a president and shit like that at Fort Valley, I'm like, God damn, like he really is doing this shit, bro.
Appreciate
Like
it.
on some real shit. And I'm just like what how do you I know you've had some doubts, but like how do you get over it?
Get over what specifically?
Like your doubts. Like I said, that potential energy. I think that fear keeps people away from making it kinetic.
So it's because I have a larger fear than the basic ones. My larger fear is why, and this is about to get really big, but I'm going to try to keep it kind of small. I think overall, um, I want to do something on this planet, right? And when I say something, I want to do something that hasn't been done before. Not exactly sure what exactly, but I want to move the needle of like human society. I want to be remembered for doing something. And when I realized that, it comes with the understanding that if you don't actually work at it or you don't try or do stuff that's scary or terrifying, you could end up just being a normal average person who hasn't done anything special. And it's like, I don't know, I feel like too many people have poured into me for me to just be regular. Which, and when I say that, like, I don't mean
I was
being
about to say,
regular.
you might want to clarify.
Like, being regular isn't necessarily a bad thing.
But it's just not for you.
It's not me. It's like somebody giving you, a bunch of candy to pass out for like Halloween, I guess, and then you just holding it for yourself. Like, you could
So-
do more.
Are you saying your fear is not using the potential, or not using this, or not sprouting the seeds that have been sown for you?
Yeah, yeah.
That's your fear.
I think that's probably I think that's probably a more succinct way of saying that, because the day to day fears of what happens if this doesn't go well or all this other stuff, that isn't as large as the main one. What if I don't live up to the potential that I have that's been given to me?
And see, this is one thing I do struggle with all the time is like, as a man, I feel like we are so hard on ourselves. Like, how often do y'all think of like, failure and success? Because I asked this on my Instagram, and the amount of men that actually came to me and talked to me about it was like crazy. I thought I was the only one.
When it comes to failure, like, I mean, I've said it multiple times. Like, y'all know, when I was at my old school, I was not on shit. Like, I'm talking about sleeping all day, not going to class, waking up playing Xbox and fucking bitches. Like, that was literally all I was doing. And like, I think when it comes to being a man, like, what you have to have a fear of failure.
Yeah,
You have to. Like, I wasn't scared of failing because I've never failed before.
Yeah.
So I felt like I needed to know what it feels like to fail in order to know, like, I don't want to feel that feeling ever again. So when it comes to at least like human nature in general, but especially to being a man, we want to be winners, we want to be providers, we want to be like the top person, the best you could be. And especially when it comes to being a man, like you have to have a fear of failure, or you have to be success driven.
yeah.
Like, I don't think it always has to be the fear of failure though. I feel like it has to be you're either chasing goals, or you're scared to see what it's like to be a loser.
Yeah, I think it's a combination of both. Ultimately, I think the biggest one really is that failure. But now that I've learned more about myself and what it is I want to do. Now there's kind of an excitement of I get the opportunity to pursue what I would say would be my calling, or connected to like my purpose per se. And there's excitement in that, because I feel, or at least in my own understanding, I feel like I have a direction specifically to pursue.
Okay, so let me explain to the viewers what your direction is, because we had a conversation I want to say it was last Wednesday, last Tuesday.
Something like that. Yeah, I
Yeah,
think
it was
we had
one of
asked.
those days, and then we were talking about, like, he wants to be an educator. He wants to go, and you said middle school age kids, right?
I want to change public education.
Yeah, he wants to. So that's the ultimate goal for his career, is to
Yeah.
change public education. And my question to you would be, how do you plan on going about doing
Really great question. I wish I had the answer to it.
that?
But no, I mean, I can tell people specifically what my current path is, because it's where I'm at. I know that at some point I need to get a doctorate in education, so I'm looking to get an EDD. I'm currently applying to grad schools for my master's, which I'll have it in a particular math field. I'm still trying to figure that out. But with the understanding of how the education field works, they have a very specific reverence to that those degrees and that education. So if I want to have the ethos, or I guess the background or the experience for people to want to listen to me, that's why I want to get that educational doctorate. And then from there, there are a couple paths people have talked to me about. There's policy, like actually working for like the Georgia, policymakers who write laws on education, or in what I think is a little bit more exciting. There's so many companies that focus on educational technology. We have different things that we use um, day to day, like OneDrive. We used to use Infinite Campus. I don't know if anybody remembers that in like middle
Yeah.
school. Yeah, Infinite Campus, and then D2L Brightspace is what we use here
Here.
at Fort Valley. I think a lot of
I
uh,
th- it's I think it's the system for one USG.
yeah,
So
yeah.
all public one USG schools use that.
So those are, people work for those companies,
Yeah.
and they've somehow got, these education systems to buy into their technology. So there might be a space for me in that realm as well.
Okay, playing back into this failure thing.
Hmm.
Have you when have you felt like a failure? Like have you ever had a point in your life where you felt like shit, this is not what I where I wanted to be or where I planned on being today?
Good question. How deep of a failure? Because I think failure sometimes can be momentary, and then you can adjust. So with that, because I would say, I mean, I'm pretty sure I failed this week in some way or
Mhm.
regard, but then I adjusted and got better. So I don't know. Can you be a little more specific with that? Or
Oh, go for it. Go for it.
And well, like just like where you felt like you fucked up, like
Mhm.
it's something where like not saying like oh shit I could have did a homework assignment today,
Yeah.
where you felt like you had a momentous setback.
Mm. Okay. Okay.
Well, first, can we at least define what failure is, right? Because I feel like, okay, like what you said earlier, you talked about how, like, shit, I failed this week, but that doesn't make you a failure.
Yeah.
I think a failure is when have you ever allowed yourself to sit there and think, like, for a long ass time, like, fuck, like, I just can't pull myself out of this like this box that I put myself in. I
Yeah.
think that's where you start
Mm.
becoming a failure.
Yeah.
So have you ever been in that point in your life?
Okay. Yeah. So we can go down the darkest of rabbit holes on that one. So 2016, in high school, it was my sophomore year of high school, and it's probably well, no, it's probably I've had the worst moment of my entire life at that point. I really I wanted to give up on life and everything, right?
Mm.
There's a lot of things compounded where there's like relations with my family, um, which a lot of that's actually been resolved now, surprisingly. But a lot of that was compounded, and there's a lot of things that were like in the background that hadn't been addressed at that point. But if you're a child, you feel everything, even though you might not be able to articulate it. I'm in high school. I'm frustrated at the education system, which is kind of how I figured out that I care so much about education. Because typically, the thing that you're most frustrated about is the thing that you're meant to work on.
Right.
And so I was like, why am I doing this? I felt like the system was set up for us to fail, because to get into college at the time, they want you to have all these extracurriculars and all these experiences. But then you also have to have challenging coursework and good grades and all this stuff. And there's just so much pulled out of me and everything. And there's probably some other stuff too that I didn't necessarily get addressed, and I don't feel this way anymore.
Right.
But I reached a point where I just wanted to stop living. Like I was going through the motions each day. I would come back and I just watch YouTube or like endless amounts of TV shows or something. Wake up, go to class, do it all over again. And I was just like, what is all this leading to and everything? And I think that's probably like that's the lowest point in my life. And I remember like I had to drag myself like emotionally out of that situation. Like my mom was talking to me and she's like, "Alex, you gotta get out of this." I was just like, I can't. Like
Hmm.
I wanted to. I'd be like, okay, this time tomorrow I'll be different. You know,
Right.
tomorrow maybe I'll actually do my work or something. And then you keep falling into the same excuses and everything. And so yeah, I think that's probably like the most failure I've felt in my entire life. Like I had no self desire for anything at that point.
And see, before you tell me how you came out of it, I want us to express like, cause like you're sitting down with us, so like, Trey, like, at what point did you feel like you was at your low?
Uh, the point I felt like I was at my lowest was when my grandmother died. I was about 19 years old, and it wasn't the first time I had ever experienced death. The first time I ever experienced death was when my grandfather died when I was 16. But I felt like I was more prepared for that moment at 16 years old, opposed to being prepared for that moment when I was 19. Because when I was 16, like I was living life like I was an all A student. I was playing sports. I was mentally probably in the best place I had been to that point in my life. I mean, my body was great. It was just like everything was good. So I had nothing to worry about. Like I had no fear. My parents, like they took care of me. They helped me understand the aspect of what was going on. Like I had my hand held through that situation.
Hmm.
When I was 19, it was like my first time being off on my own. I'm failing all my classes because I know my grandmom's at home sick, and I'm in school. I'm
Yeah.
in North Carolina. I am 6 hours away from Atlanta. Uh, I call my grandma. She doesn't know my name. She's calling me Noah now. She knows I'm her grandson, but she can't remember which grandson I am. And when I finally get home, it's like she's so like because they put you on drugs when you're old so that you can subside with the pain. So she's
Yeah.
so high on drugs, like not saying like she's a drug addict or anything,
Right.
but the narcotics that the hospital was giving her,
Yeah.
she's so doped up like she can't even form a sentence. She don't know what she watching. So like that's when I was at my lowest, like watching her go through all that because at that point in time I wasn't prepared. Like I thought, yeah, like I went through this before. My grandfather went through the same thing. You know what I'm saying? He was the same way, but it was different because I wasn't in the same headspace. I wasn't prepared at that point in time to lose my grandma. I felt like I needed her, and now I realize it was kind of selfish of me to want to hold on to that grandmother's love
Hmm.
because she was in pain. But to me at that time, I needed Mimi. So so like when she passed, is I didn't want to do nothing. I didn't want to get out of bed. I didn't want to play. I didn't want to swing a baseball bat. I didn't want to like. I didn't want to do anything like play video games. Like I'm just in my room. My roommate's asking me, "What's good?" Like you seem different. I don't feel like doing anything. That's just how that was for me.
Yeah.
That was probably the lowest point of my life. And for a lot of people, that would be like, you know what I'm saying, easy for them to deal with. Like, I didn't have any hardships growing up. I grew up in a two-parent household. Both my parents made well over enough money. So, like, to a lot of people, losing a grandparent isn't anything. But to me, like, that was like losing a second mom. So that's why it was so hard for me.
And see, like, as men, how 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 do y'all get through that? Like, how do y'all get through those depressive states? Like, you know how that old saying goes, "Time heals all wounds," but like, is it really just time? It just took time to get over it, or like, did y'all do something to get over it?
I definitely used therapy.
Like, you actually went to like,
I went to therapy. Yes. Yeah.
wow,
Like, because I didn't get depressed. I got anxious. And I didn't know how to
Mm.
deal with it because anxiety affects your body completely different
Anxiety is
in the
crazy.
way
Anxiety is
that
crazy.
depression affects your body. So it affected me when I was at my lowest point. It affected me completely different. I didn't experience depression per se. I mean, depression and anxiety run hand in hand, but I had more anxiety symptoms opposed to depression symptoms. So like I was always wondering, my mind was always racing. Uh, I couldn't really just like sit still, and also like my heart rate, like I don't know where my heart rate would just go racing when I start like when my thoughts started racing, my heart would go with it. So I went like I had to like go to a therapist and just talk out my emotions because I didn't want to take any medicine for it because I was like it's not that bad. I haven't dealt with this before in my life, so I know I don't need medicine. I just need to work these emotions out, and that's what I had to do. Like I had to go to therapy, talk to a therapist, and just work that stuff out because holding it in wasn't working. Trying to work out wasn't working. Trying to use women as a way to give out that outlet wasn't working. I had to actually work through those emotions opposed to masking it with things I like to do.
Yeah. So there's a lot of ways in terms of how you deal with it. I think the first thing is you have to understand what you're going through, right? And that's why I think it's really good to go to a therapist and see somebody. Didn't use. I went to therapy a little bit in high school sporadically. More recently, now I've actually done serious therapy for like 4 months now. Um,
I've been slacking. I've never been to therapy.
Therapy is crazy. We could talk about that like deeper
Yeah.
in a sec. But so my process, right, is and this isn't really going for like the diagnosed depression and anxiety and stuff because I've never been diagnosed with anything,
Mm.
right? I've just assumed that I've dealt with specific things, and I think for people like when it's not that degree, you have to identify the things that are bothering you. You have to be able to verbalize them because a lot of times we think we know what's bothering us, but it's like it's underneath some other thing that we focus on. So we might say that we're angry or we're frustrated at a person, but really it's they remind us of someone else and that makes us really frustrated or
Mm.
upset. So there's always like underlying features of uh underlying causes of how you feel. And if you can recognize and mentally work through those, that decreases a lot of the issues, right? Then like you said, going to talk to somebody, therapy. But I'm not gonna, say therapy in the aspect of I didn't use it until till now, for
Mm.
real. So I think my biggest coping strategy is like recategorizing how you respond to stuff.
You said something interesting that I wanted to catch. You said that you didn't start using therapy until now,
Yeah.
right? So when I went to use therapy, the thing that pushed me to use therapy was my mom. She was
Mhm.
like, "What you're doing isn't working. You're trying, but you're calling me every day, telling me your problems. I'm not a therapist. I can't help you with this. I love you. I will listen to what you have to say, but I can't help you with this. Go seek professional help." Did somebody push you to go seek that professional help, or was it more of a self motivated thing? And for you, Million, have you not had that same push to go seek professional help?
And see, with me, like, first, I ain't even gonna lie, right? There's like three main things that's keeping me away from therapy right
Mhm.
now. First is money. I don't think I got the money for it. I'm gonna be
That's a,
honest
that's
with
a
you.
You
real
have
thing.
insurance?
Yes,
It's
but
covered.
see,
It's
like
covered
I
under most
honestly,
insurance
I need to start taking care of my body like that a little bit more because I don't even know if I got insurance for real,
Please go get a checkup.
bro. For sure, for sure,
I'm
man. For
waiting
sure,
until the break, but I'm getting a full body checkup this
for
break.
sure. And then okay, another thing that's kind of keeping me away from therapy is like I I I don't know, being vulnerable with a random person. How do y'all just go about like being vulnerable with someone you don't know?
It's surprising that it actually feels better than being vulnerable with somebody that you do know
because they
because
they have no ties to you.
you can once you especially like I also do video calls, so it's like I close the Zoom call and I go back to my life and like that person doesn't exist
For real?
Yeah.
So like,
in a way.
was
Yeah.
y'all like crying and shit like that?
Have
I
I
never
had?
cried. I never cried during the session. It was more I got really angry. Like
For real?
angry at myself, yeah. Cause when you start talking, like I talked about all the stuff I was doing wrong. I was telling them I don't go to class. I don't do my homework. I'm in these organizations. I don't show up to any events. I'm on the brink of getting kicked out of all these organizations
Mm.
that I wanted to be in. I'm about to get kicked off the baseball team. And I just got my walk on spot this spring. Like, so I got really angry at myself.
Mm,
But that was pretty much like I never cried. It was more of a I would it, therapy showed me how disappointed I was in myself, and it helped me work through that disappointment. And once
Mm.
I worked through that disappointment, it helped me cope with losing my grandmother and cope with my anxiety issues.
Mm. What about you, Alex?
I want to speak on that. You have a lot more power than you think you do as a person, right? And a lot of the time, you know the answer to solve your problems, but you don't want to commit to it a lot of the time. So therapy kind of helps clear out all the other nonsense, and the therapist is like, "So you know what you need to do," and then you're just like, "Damn, I really do have
You,
to do that," and you have to come face with that. But to answer your question, yes, I've shed tears in therapy. I so this specific bout of therapy that I went through lately, and to I guess I'm just hitting all the points, right? I finally decided to seriously go for myself, because one, I was ready to listen to whatever they had to say,
mm,
and two, it's been a huge thing in like the masculinity development world. They push, going to therapy so much.
right.
And now I've seen how people's demons in their closets have affected them from achieving their goals. And like we talked about earlier, like I'm very, I'm success driven now. I don't want to fail in life. So I'm not going to let the stuff that I never dealt with stop me from
Mm.
that. Cuz what people don't realize is that thing that you shove down, that you don't want to talk about to anybody, that you feel shameful about or whatever, it stops you in like micro moments of your decision making.
Mm.
That shame, like that little bit of shame may make you miss an opportunity. Like it might cause you to overthink something, like, should I really do this? When a person who has zero shame wouldn't, feel regret or remorse to make that decision.
Right.
And that might be the difference of you getting the opportunity that you need or not.
I have to check it out for sure.
All right, so before we get into the next thing I want to talk about,
Yeah.
all this ties into like everything you're saying, being open, understanding yourself.
Yeah.
These are all characteristics that a high value man possesses. Um, for those who don't know what a high value man is, and
Mhm.
you spoke a lot about it in your master class.
Oh, yeah.
May you please tell them what a high value man is?
Okay. So the definition that I did not make, I'm going to pull from kind of the creators, and I'll throw a name out. I specifically pulled this from Kevin
I knew
Samuels.
you was gonna say it.
Yeah.
I knew you was gonna say it.
Which and I say this all in the aspect of paraphrasing and quoting, um, because I didn't make the phrase, and I think there's a point here that there's underlying points I want to make real quick. Being a high value man is not the only type of man that people can be or should strive to be.
Mm.
It is a subset that the goal or the point that he's really talking about is a subset that women really focus on. And the reality is there are lots of good quality men that might not always be the subset that women focus on. So I'm going to throw that caveat out there and then answer your question. So a high value man is typically a man making in like the six figure plus range. They are high levels of confidence. They're typically in that top percentage of fitness. I forgot what the other thing is. But there's a lot of there are a lot of physical attributes
They pull
attributed
hose.
to it. They do pull hose, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So typically women naturally 90% of women go after like 10% of men. This is typically that. And so that high value man category is that quote unquote 10% of men that women are naturally attracted to.
And see,
There's your definition.
See, my only issue with that is the high value man thing that I like. It's a big thing. Like 2021 high value man, you're gonna hear it like if you
This
go
is
on
true.
social media. My only issue with that is that really the type of guys that girls are going for? Because the type of guys that I see girls going for nowadays is the Chads and Tyrons, the niggas that ain't shit right now, the gangbangers. Because most of the stuff, because I see Kevin Samuel stuff a little bit sometimes too. You know,
I'll tell you why there's a caveat to it.
yeah,
I'll let you finish.
yeah. I was just saying like most of the women that go on there, they're talking about how they want a high value man, but already got piped down by Chad and Tyrone. And now have like 3 baby daddies and shit like that before they start looking for the high value man. So is the high value man really what women is looking for?
Yes. Because again, high value man is not necessarily high quality per se. Like that
And my fault.
You wanna
Sorry
go?
to interject, but like I was gonna say the same thing. Like all the characteristics that he used to define a high value man doesn't fall shy of a gangbanger. He never said you have
never
to
said
be
they
a
did.
specific type of 6-figure money maker. You don't have to be a specific type of confident person. You don't have to be a specific type of open person. You just have to have these characteristics.
That is true.
So like in a certain like he was sorry for interjecting,
No, you're
but
good.
I think I'm hitting a nail on the head what he was trying to say. Like just because they're not our sense of high value doesn't mean they don't fall into the category of a high value man.
Yeah, that's the thing that I don't think people realize he's saying most of the time. And maybe it's because of how he comes off, but because men and women value different things, right? And so really a high value man is what women naturally value the most, right? And what they naturally value, not the societal things that have been built up, not the religious things that have built up, like things that innately that they desire in a partner, right? You know, the raw, like natural stuff, which is you want somebody who's confident, you want somebody who's tall, athletic, and strong, right? And you want somebody who has high influence, which is attributed to the money that they have, essentially, because money is influence in the society that we live in. That's really what the high value stuff represents. It represents what women really want.
Right.
Because if you think about like what would quote unquote be a high value woman, women get upset at what men would say would be like top tier women because it's not the things that they naturally value.
Do you consider yourself to be a high value man?
I don't. One, I have nowhere near the finances. Nowhere near the finances. And that's really the big thing. I'm getting there in the athletic department. Like I've been working out and everything. You know, last time I measured, I was like 9% body fat. So like, I'm working in ways there. But I think one thing, I had I had this realization with myself. I don't think I even desire to be a quote unquote high value man.
I was just about to
At least
ask.
not anytime
About to ask.
soon, because what's driving me more is my purpose, and my purpose is going to take me away from being that relationship having person, because pursuing degrees is not the best way to make money.
Facts. So okay, so when you say about like the high value man, right?
Hmm.
I also hear about like alpha males, things of that nature.
That's
Is that
very
the same? Is that the same thing?
no.
They should have played Sigma.
Alpha males without the fraternity, without the fraternities.
This
I'm talking
man.
about the alpha
This
males.
man.
I'm talking about like you know
Go
what
ahead
I mean.
Go
You
ahead.
know-
Go ahead and shout your boys out. Go ahead.
I already did it. It's
Uh,
okay.
that's-
But I'm
Once
ta-
episode.
Once an episode.
But I'm talking about like real talk. Like you think there's such thing as an alpha male? Like out of 10 men, there's one alpha male type stuff.
It's not as specific as what we've tried to make it out to be. And then when you get into the beta male or sigma male and stuff, because like they've tried to make these like actual things. Like, first of all, if you call yourself an alpha male, you're not an alpha.
You're not an alpha
You're
male.
not
You
at all.
don't. You
I
don't.
hate when I
you
hear
don't,
niggas
you
say
cannot
that
call,
shit.
You cannot call yourself. You have to. Because you have to. The thing is like it's from a female lens is really what it is.
Not
Like
even that.
it's
though.
how you come off, right? There are people who just when they walk in the room, they're just it. They're
Yeah.
that guy.
Like that's what I think where people get lost at in that like have you ever watched like the Athlete X guy on YouTube? He talks all this shit about being an alpha male, or that other
Yes.
chiseled ass white dude. He talks about how he's such an alpha and how all the ladies. That's not being an alpha male. What an alpha male is a person who walks in the room. I don't feel as if an alpha male even needs to have a certain image or a physical stature.
Not necessarily. You just walk in the
You just
room
walk
and
in
you're
the
it.
room and you're that guy. Like I'm the best. I'm the person that you aspire to be.
Can y'all give me an example of what an alpha male will look like?
Me.
Can you give you just contradicted yourself. You just contradicted yourself. So you just eliminated yourself. You just eliminated yourself from the
It's,
talk. But-
it's a state of being that's momentary. Like you don't just reach alpha male status and then you stay there. Like we said, it's a
Yeah.
because you can walk into one room and be the alpha and then walk into another room and not be.
Bro, you know what I just thought about?
What?
Jeff Bezos and Leonardo DiCaprio, bro. Did y'all see that video?
No.
No.
I don't know.
Bro, oh my god.
iPad.
Yes, bro. Okay, so
Let me
look.
see this.
Jeff Bezos, the richest man in the world right now,
Mhm.
had a female. Leonardo DiCaprio, the female was with him. The female was with Jeff Bezos,
Mhm.
and then like they met Leonardo DiCaprio.
Mhm.
Who the fuck do you think the female was on?
Leo.
She was on that man's dick, bruh. She was on this man's dick. Let me
2 days
show
ago.
you,
2
bro.
days
And it
ago.
happened 2 days ago. I swear to God,
Yeah,
bruh.
2 days ago.
And it just goes to show, like, money is not everything, bruh.
It's not necessarily money. No, it's not.
I think it's safe to say Jeff's girlfriend, Lauren Sanchez, reacted at how old was when she met
Oh,
I'm telling you. And then look at Jeff Bezos' face, bruh.
sick.
Jeff is single, right? Jeff is a whole
Yeah,
bachelor.
I mean,
now.
he's-
oh
he's
yeah,
just-
yeah.
He's dating.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
dating her type shit.
Yeah.
Bruh.
In the moment, he's not the most,
He's not the
desired person in the
alpha.
room. No. But when Leo leaves, he might be.
For sure. Like if Jeff Bezos stepped
I mean,
in
it
Fort
depends
Valley.
what that room is.
Yeah, if Jeff Bezos stepped in Fort Valley, he's not that alpha.
He's the most alpha of the city.
But
at
it just
that
goes.
point.
But
Golly.
it just goes to
Most
show,
alpha in Middle Georgia.
Bruh, I'm just saying, it just goes to show like money really ain't fucking everything, bro. Leonardo
Because
DiCaprio,
again,
bruh.
the whole thing is set up on how women operate, and women operate in the momentary feelings that they have associated to the person. And if the person makes them feel way more than another person does, that's what wins. But
It's-
that's not how we operate. We like logic. We want how much money do I need to have? How built do I have to be? But that's not how it works. Because women don't even necessarily, you don't have to be the most built guy per se, right? So you don't just get to tick off these markers and then you got it.
And see, the
It
thing
doesn't
that,
work like that.
And see, you're pretty much telling me that like women is the deciding factor in if this man is an alpha or not. Doesn't that mean that women really run the world? Like on some real shit. If we're
I saw
How?
a video on that earlier though. I swear to God, I forgot. I was scrolling through TikTok, and it was definitely. I think it was I forgot who was saying it, but it was like, basically the girl was saying, she was like, a man makes money to please me. A man makes money to take care
Facts.
of me. A man takes care of himself so that he can be attracted to me.
Facts.
So just because this man is successful, is because all this success is because of me. So who really runs the world? The man that's out there doing all the shit that it takes to run the world, or the person who's motivating him to do so?
And see, that's what I'm saying, bro. Everything that men like essentially do is to please a woman, bro.
Yeah.
I got this earring. I got this earring
yeah.
in my ear right now to look a little bit cuter for a woman. Cause I damn sure don't give a fuck if a nigga says anything about it.
I cut my beard off to look cuter for a woman.
Like we do a lot of shit for women, bro, and it's only to please them. I swear, like.
I mean, yes.
In a sense, I ain't gonna say everything.
Yes. I mean, so the most natural and instinctual thing I think human beings have is sex, right?
Facts.
And we don't need to get, too deep, but like sex runs the world, right? It's the aspect of the potential of having sex, which, when you're lining people up to get married or things of that nature, blah, blah, blah. Relationships, even if people are waiting, like there's a potential ultimately to have sex. Like that's really what all the exchange is and everything, right? Guys go on dates with girls ultimately at the end of everything, right? Even if there's a relationship in between, even if there's waiting for marriage in between, it's sex. And any of the work and development we do for ourselves is ultimately to get us to a position where we can have sex, right? So yes, in that regards, women run the world. Going back to the alpha stuff and the high value man, yes, all that stuff is based off of women because that's who's making the deciding factor of if you're it or not. That's really what it is that the woman in that moment, when she interacts with you, how do you make her feel? And that's the yes or no that gets you in or out with her for the potential of having sex. That's what it is. But there is a balance to it. There is a flip side because, if the woman is not bringing what you desire, well, if you're a self-respecting man, right? Because that's one thing. Men, I think historically have a very bad job at setting standards for the women that they're with.
Facts.
But if you have a level of standards for the women that you're with, which I would like to say that I do, because it makes it very hard for me to want to spend time with people because I expect a certain level of maturity, intelligence, peace, and just a level of drive, which isn't natural among a lot of people currently, right? So it makes it very hard for me to, be able to spend time with people because I expect stuff out of the women that I'm ultimately at some point trying to have sex with, right? So you have men control, I think, and this has been said before, men really control the relationship and women control the sex. Men control the container of the relationship and the interaction with the woman, but women really control the sex ultimately.
But I don't know if I could even agree with that. Cause
Yeah,
like
I don't think I can.
happy wife, happy life. You hear it like on some real shit. Like
I think
women-
that's terrible, personally.
no, that's fucking terrible. I hate that. But
Happy wife, happy life. It's cheaper to keep her.
yeah, like honestly, bro. Like honestly, like really, women run the relationship with a guy. I've seen men.
Really?
Yeah, bro. No,
Even
there's no
Jeff
way.
Bezos, bro. Didn't his ex-wife become like the second richest lady of all time purely off marrying him
Yes.
and divorcing his ass?
Well,
Yes.
okay, that I don't like that example because apparently she actually was a part of building Amazon. So I don't.
I mean,
don't
she
like
was there.
using
She
that.
was there. She was the day one female for sure. She was a day one female for sure.
So
She put in work too?
Yeah,
She
she
put
put in
in
work too. She
hella
put in
work.
work too.
Oh, I
'cause-
didn't know. I
yeah,
didn't
that's
know
what I'm saying. Like
Yeah,
that's a
she was
very
the-
bad
Yeah,
example.
yeah, she was a day one female. Now you could argue like Dr. Dre or something like that. His woman.
That's different. That's different. But I don't think, did she actually get that?
yeah, she got it.
So million. So what is the issue that you disagree with? That's what I wanted to
You're talking
understand.
about
Quick interjection. I got to pee. Y'all boys go at it. I'll be right back.
Okay. Shit. What I was saying was like I can't like I think women really do run everything in a relationship when a man gets with one woman. Now, a man really starts to become this is why I'm a firm believer in polygamy. I can't even lie. I'm gonna be honest with you. Like a female I'm talking to right now, she keeps on telling me like, she wants to be in a relationship, and I'm like, I've been in a relationship, been there, done that. But if I get with one female, that one woman is running my life. You know what I mean? She was really running me. I feel like I look back at it, I could honestly say I let her run me. But if I have multiple different women in the household, I'm getting multiple different perspectives, and now I get to choose which perspective I want, and that gives you the power. But right now, with America being strictly monogamous, I think that alone gives women the most power in a relationship, at least, and
So
in the world.
so I see what you're saying. This point's been made before, and I do kind of like basely agree that monogamy benefits women's natural mating strategy more than it benefits the man's.
Mm-hmm.
Because the man's natural mating strategy is have sex with as many women as possible to prolong yourself.
Right.
Women's natural mating strategy is to find the best mate possible because you only get, that one egg and you have to carry it for 9 months and it could
Mm-hmm.
possibly kill you. So you might as well allow somebody that will shoot up the club who's actually, worthwhile, right?
Right.
That's their mating strategy, and monogamy typically benefits that. But I disagree in the aspect of that is the power fully shifts to the woman. I think it's something that you said. You said you let her run you.
But
Now,
it's to the point to where it's like, okay, so sex was like, I think sex is a driving factor in a lot of men, whether we like to agree with it
oh
or
no,
not.
that's definitive. That is
Yes.
not
Okay, as long
that
as
is
we
not
agree on
something
that.
that can be debated.
Right. Okay. And honestly, like it got to the point to where it was like, how can I do this to make her happy in order for me to get sex? And maybe I wasn't in the best, I
But
wasn't in
no,
the
no,
best
speak
mindset.
your truth. Speak your
But
truth.
essentially, that's what I feel like a lot of things was like. Oh, okay, so like, okay, if I did this, then I could probably get this from her.
Yeah.
I could do this. I could do this from her, and like she could use that. I don't know if it was like her like intentionally doing it or not.
Mhm.
But honestly, I can honestly say I did a lot just for her. Like I can like okay, for example, with me in Fort Valley, right?
Mhm.
When I was in a relationship with her, I didn't make any friends, right? I didn't make any friends because I was like, why should I have any friends? She should be my only friend. So now that alone just gave her so much power, and maybe that was just me. But I feel like a lot of men sacrifice a lot of things for their woman, and that gives them, you know, the overall power in a relationship. And we do it whether we like it or not. So many men lose power in a relationship when they get with someone.
And I agree that that happens, but I think ultimately it comes down to us, and we have to we have to be stronger at playing that waiting game, right? Even though it's hard for a lot of us because we desire sex so much. But what you're really pointing at, which I think I agree is a plight for most men, is that we have the desire of sex or have the desire of someone or something way more than we're willing to stick with the standard. So we start compromising stuff because really what I'm hearing is that there's a lot of stuff that normally that you wouldn't agree to do, but because you wanted something, you compromised on it.
All
Mhm.
right, I have two questions to
Yeah.
keep the conversation going. First question is: have you ever yourself been in a relationship?
Have I been in a relationship? It depends on if you count high school relationships. I count
It
them.
definitely
Hell
count.
yeah, they count.
High school, 16 and up count.
Yeah, 16. Were you 16? It can't be freshman relationship.
No, it's just
Freshman and sophomore.
yeah. I'm
Yeah.
talking 16 up stuff.
Yeah,
Okay,
16 and
okay,
up
okay.
definitely
That
counts.
counts. That counts.
Yeah. But no, I haven't been in a relationship in college. I've dated people and everything, but I haven't been. I've gone on dates with people. Excuse me, but I haven't been in a relationship since high school.
All right, and my second question to that: so the relationships that you were in,
Hmm.
or the attempts to, or the courting you were doing with the dating and stuff, do you feel as if sacrificing yourself or sacrificing things that you would normally do is something that both people should contribute to a relationship, or should it just be take me as you are for both parties, and if you can't take that, then we should just be separate beings or entities without each other?
What do you mean? Take me as?
Like, as like if there's something like, let's say the person wears a sweatshirt you don't like,
Mhm.
and you're like, bro, if you don't stop wearing that fucking sweatshirt, we just can't be together. Of course, it'll be deeper than that. That's
Yeah,
just the
I get
first
what
thing
you're
that came to
saying.
mind.
So obviously not specifically the sweatshirt, but the concept of it. Um, yeah, I think that needs to be in a healthy relationship because, and I'm not the person to be able to talk about marriage or long term relationships. I'm a college student, but I think the concept that I'm understanding of why most relationships don't work is that we're not willing to die to the partner, right? Because that's essentially my understanding of like the marriage piece. But let's just say long term relationships, right?
Okay.
Because we don't want to get too deep. I don't want to get too deep in that. But most people go in a relationship with what they want out of the relationship, right? But the relationship's really not going to thrive until you're able to understand what the other person wants, and both of you are intentional about providing it for each other. And without that mindset, you really set yourself up to fail because let's be honest, the reason you are in a relationship with somebody is that you do want something from them, right? You're trying to either lock them down, quote unquote, take them off the market, so you two would be able to have some sort of exchange because otherwise you would have just been vibing by yourself. So obviously you do want something from them and you need to have a healthy exchange of being able to get it.
Do you feel as if you struggle with women?
Do I struggle with women? Yes. And I'll tell you why, or at least my understanding of why. Um, I think I've been hit with more of the logical intelligence stick more than the emotional intelligence stick. And a lot of the stuff I was telling you earlier about the perspective of women and everything is stuff that I've learned honestly very recently in my life. And it's not something I've naturally like attuned to. Like I would say before 2019, I don't even think I had emotional intelligence. I would honestly say that. And as a man, like if you lack that, you women can tell. Like they can easily tell. Also, in a lot of ways, I've been trying to be someone that I'm naturally not. I've been trying to be because I told you I was very passionate about leadership, right? In the back of my mind, I thought I had to be this extroverted, Barack Obama, Martin Luther King Jr. style of leader. When the reality is, I'm naturally an introvert. I'm very uh, methodical, analytical. I'm very, I'm by definitions and everything. And with that, that gives me, huge problem solving, huge critical thinking, even the aspect of being able to predict and understand patterns and stuff. But it doesn't necessarily come with the emotional intelligence and feeling stuff. So I've had to work on that.
So do you like when you okay? So when you say you struggle with women, let's have a
Yeah,
scenario, right? A
sure.
baddie is right over there in the corner or some shit, right?
Mhm.
So do you overanalyze before you go and speak to her, or like what are you thinking
So
in
are we
your
talking
mind?
about me now? Because like
Yeah,
me
yeah, yeah.
now
You
is
know, you know.
very so I've been very like there's so much change that's happened lately that I'm not necessarily sure. I mean now if I'm interested in a person, I kind of just I make sure they're either by themselves or something like that, and I'm just like you know what, let's go talk to her, all right? Because yeah, but a lot of times I'm probably try to analyze who she is ahead of time and decide if that's somebody I want to talk to. Because unfortunately, I'm sorry to all the baddies out there. Like not all of you can carry a conversation. So
Facts.
I gotta make sure we can actually hang first before I just pull up.
And see, I think that's the best. Like I was telling these girls at a club once, I was like, "Hey, so the best game I've developed it. Like I honestly feel like I developed it. The best game is simple. Speak. Don't think about what you're gonna talk about. Just go over there and just talk to her. And then something it's either you're gonna register something or it's gonna fail. And if it fails, that's cool. Brush it off. But most of the time, you're gonna register something so you don't lose. And then once that happens, you just after you fail, you move on to another female. But if it keeps on going, like it's gonna flow naturally, bro. It really you're more often than not is gonna flow naturally. Don't overthink it, because the second you start to overthink is the second that you lose.
I'm gonna say something real, but I know Trey wants to come in.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I feel as if I struggle with women too, but on a different aspect than how Alex struggled with them.
Okay, but
Bro,
no,
it's not
excuse me.
cap. It's
Tell
like
tell your truth. Tell your
like
truth. Tell your truth. Excuse me.
I feel like I struggle with being able to control my animalistic urge.
Okay.
So like
Yes, I
with
do
being in a
believe in that.
relationship, I try my hardest to just like ignore women, just do like because people approach me a lot and not to like brag or
No, you have options. Like
yeah.
I could sit here and like tell your audience he has options.
And I'm trying like and I feel like I've been successful in sticking and staying with one, but when at the end of the day, like you said, is it monogamous? Like
Monogamy.
yeah, monogamous
Monogamous.
relationship tends more to the female agenda opposed to the male.
Yeah, naturally.
Because the Lord told us to be fruitful and multiply. That doesn't necessarily be fruitful and multiply with the same person.
Right.
So I feel like as a man, I naturally struggle with that aspect of being in a relationship.
And see, I don't think that we have to fight that urge, bro. I don't think that that's fair. And that's how women run the world. They have tricked men to thinking that, hey, you need to be with me and only me and things of that nature.
Is it a trick? You don't see the benefit to having one individual?
I mean, okay. When I
Because
say
I get what you're saying. Like I'm not sitting here with this mindset that I haven't considered polygamy at
right.
points. I just you don't see any positives to monogamy at all for men.
Not when I'm no, because my parents are still married.
Mhm.
Of course, I still see that. But I think my main thing with monogamy is, we see like Trey was saying,
Mhm.
we have animalistic urges, right? Things of that nature. Me personally, I wouldn't be in a polygamous relationship.
I wouldn't
for-
either.
I'm
Oh.
not. No, I would. I would, but I'm not saying that I would get in it just because I want to have sex with multiple different women. Nah, that's not it.
Yeah.
I think that women do bring some sense of like fortune and knowledge with them, and the more that I can have, I feel like is the better. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So that's why I want to have polygamous relationships. They bring so much value to a man's life. I've seen it. Like, okay, like I was talking about how men change everything for them. Just because they change doesn't mean it's a bad change. More
Yeah.
often than not, women are changing men for the better.
This is true.
And that's why I'm cool with them running the world, because honestly they make men change for the better.
Yeah.
Apply to internships.
Yes,
Save money.
fucking take showers. You know what I mean? Like on some real
Brush your
shit.
hair.
And this is
Wash
why I
your
love
face.
women so much, and I love them so much that I'm like, you know what? I would love to have more than one, because that's more knowledge, that's more intimacy, that's more just. They're such powerful beings that I would love to have more of that in my life.
So
Tell me you want to be a dog without telling me you want to be a dog.
so let me say this. And this is what changes the whole conversation. Children. Children is what changes the whole conversation of monogamy and polygamy, I think.
Did I tell you how many children I wanted?
No, you didn't.
I definitely want. I stay telling people this, and I mean it. My minimum amount of children that I want is like 10 minimum.
Solid.
So I want.
I'm in the 5 category.
I can't expect one woman to produce just all that. You know what I mean? So that's why I want to have a polygamy.
Interesting.
That's why I'm going to have polygamy.
I ain't going no more than 4.
So again, children are expensive, right? And a lot of these conversations change when you have enough money to like reasonably make this happen. Like polygamy and having children with polygamy makes way more sense when you have enough money to actually do it, right? Because once your funds get low, like the whole thing messes up. Because the majority of relationships break down to financial issues.
Mm-hmm.
So you have problems that really only occurred because y'all didn't plan ahead of time to have the money. But I wanted to come back to an old point real quick before
Okay.
you segue. You asked me, do I think I'm good with women? One, I don't even think, I don't believe anymore that I'm supposed to be good with women. Like me naturally, with who I am. I'm really now, if anything, I'm just concerned on being good for like the few women that actually fit for me, because I no longer believe that the majority of women will work for who I am, because let's be honest, like I'm not a typical man, right? And that's not saying that I'm better or worse. It's just naturally how I vibe and like what I'm focused on and the things of how I operate. It doesn't naturally flow with most people. So really, I just need, that one person who fits with that, and I'll be straight.
How do you think that people perceive you?
How do I think that people perceive me? That's also changed too, because I've worked really hard to change my image. But let's talk more about, I guess, SGA president Alex, right? So I was very, I was always working. I was always either people would think I would be like stressed out or like um I guess tired, right? Not jubilant per se, which are terrible things that are not attractive to women. I think people have always considered me pretty driven, and I'm not abrasive with most people, but well, I didn't. Yeah, I don't think people thought I was that abrasive. I also think I might have let too much go at times as well. I was a little too comfortable. I was a little too comfortable with things. Um, Oh, I also think people thought I was a robot, in probably like the most simplest of ways, where I had a very hard time with connecting to emotions, understanding other people's emotions. Some people might have thought I wasn't exactly the most sympathetic, especially when I was in like work mode, because I'm trying to achieve the goal the best way to achieve the goal. I'm not gonna waste your time or my time, all right? And so that's how I think a lot of people used to really view me. Now, I wear way more casual clothing than I used to and stuff.
To interject on that,
Go.
this man wore a suit or some form of professional business wear every single day during the height of the pandemic. I just don't understand. Like there was literally nowhere to go.
It was hot as hell outside.
Hot as
too.
fucking Fort Valley. Classes are online. You're sitting in your room via Synchronos looking at your teacher. This man has on a full suit. And like you don't understand. Like he's not one of those people like me where you got the top half looking right and you got the drawers from the bottom. Full blown professional attire at all times for a full year where we did not have to be outside. All right, that's all I had to say. I'm sorry. I just had to let people know that.
Low. I have I have to really think and reconnect with that version of me, because I'm really like I obviously I'm that person still, but I'm not that person anymore. Um, I've worked on finding more balance, right? Because the thing about leadership that can be very challenging is that desire to be the best leader you can be. Um, Sometimes gets muddled in with trying to be someone that you're not, or to try to be a version of a leader that you just naturally aren't. Because we favor those very charismatic, bombastic, out loud people, but leadership isn't like a personality type. Leadership is ability to influence, and however you influence is still leadership. And you can influence from the shadows. You don't have to always influence from the front per se, or it doesn't even necessarily have to be the shadows. But it's like, Barack Obama's style of leadership is not the only way to be a leader.
Right.
But we've pretty much thrown that on all black men, if we're being honest.
You got to create your own wave, bro.
You have
And that's
to.
what I see you doing. I mean, you came in here with is that a leather jacket?
Yes, this
Oh,
is
guy
a
came
leather-
in here with the leather jacket.
Okay. I love
He's
this thing.
changing it. I'm seeing it.
I
I'm
love
seeing it.
I
though.
love this thing. I love this
But
thing.
I'm not even gonna lie. When I first met you, like when I actually first got to sit down and talk to you, I'm like, okay, you remind me of Elon Musk in a sense. And it's not like
We
not
have-
as shallow,
Mhm.
but I was like, damn, he's giving me Elon Musk vibes.
We
at
actually
first.
have the same personality type. If I don't know if you guys have ever
Ian,
taken the
I was there.
oh yeah, the 16 personalities test. Yeah, we did that.
Hmm.
He is an INFJ.
The architect. That's
No.
the architect,
Yeah, I
right?
think that's the archetype. Or
Yeah.
INTJ. INTJ. That's what it is.
Mm.
INTJ. It's introverted, intuitive. Um, I think it's judging. No, INTJ. Thinking and judging. That's what
Mm.
it is. Yeah, very analytical architect person. And when I realized that's like a person that I'm, very similar to, right?
Right.
It made me realize because like Elon Musk isn't necessarily good with women, but he's changing the world,
Facts.
right? And he has women in his life. It's just not, he's just not pulling, the 80, 70, 50%.
Yeah.
He's got like a 1% realm that works,
Hmm.
and he plays that lane, and he probably doesn't feel as bad about it anymore.
Right.
And that's what I was trying to, kind of hint at earlier is that I've really worked to stop feeling bad when the 80% don't vibe with me, right? Or the 90% women don't like what I bring to the table. It doesn't mean that I'm doing anything wrong, right?
Hmm.
Because I've had those moments on campus where I'm like, damn, she really not fucking with me, and I'm just like, bruh, I thought she was cool and everything, and it's just like okay, but then there are plenty of women on this campus who do like me, who are interested in me, right? It's just a smaller number necessarily than exactly the group of people that I want.
And see, that's what. Did we stop recording? Oh,
Okay.
okay. I was just about to say that's what I think a lot of people do when they're following something is that one thing that they could not get, they want the most. You know how
Yeah.
you was talking about that 120, that 10%, no, that 90%. You're not even focused about them anymore.
Yeah.
That's what we need to get to the point. At like
Unless you actually are that person,
facts.
right? Because let's be honest, Trey's in that category, right?
Mm.
Of he doesn't think he is, but he is. Let's be honest. Trey's in that category. There are people who are actually in that category and work in that realm, right?
Hmm.
But that's not where I am, right? And the other thing is I had to realize is that I have blessings in places that other people don't have, right? The access to like my network, the ability of like the connections I can build. Like I network naturally very well. It's not
Mm.
something I've always been attuned to. I'm very good at connecting with people of like higher status or higher power and then getting opportunities from them, right?
Right.
And that's something that everybody isn't the best at. I'm very good at organizing. I'm very good at time management. These are important things. They
Hmm.
don't necessarily help you with getting women, but they're important things that I'm really good at that other people struggle with. So I stopped. Well, I'm working to do a lot better at not feeling bad about the things that I'm not naturally good at
Right.
because there are things that other people aren't naturally good at that I don't have to deal with.
And so while we was talking about Elon Musk, that Tesla stock,
Oh my gosh, you want to talk about
I
Tesla?
sent it to you. I was like, bro, check this out. I couldn't believe that you didn't see your own stock going crazy. You still got Tesla, right?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I haven't sold anything.
How long were you planning on keeping that again?
The goal is to keep Tesla until 2030. To give I'm a long term investor. I don't plan on doing any short selling or I mean not short selling. Excuse me, short term selling. That's not what I'm into. There's plenty of ways to make money with that, but that's
Right.
not what I'm doing. And just to be really brief about Tesla, I think their technology is well, no, nothing. I know their technology is way ahead of their competitors. Um, Autonomous interfacing way ahead of their competitors, and they've been focused about this for a long time.
I feel like Tesla has everything right about a car except for the actual functionalities of cars. Like they have very poor proportion when it comes to craftsmanship. Like that's my biggest problem with Tesla.
Yeah,
Like
that's a real thing. Yeah,
they'll have doors that close, but it'll still be a fat ass gap, and it won't be that same gap on the other side of the car. Like their
Wow.
proportions are awful when it comes to craftsmanship. Like they'll have like the Tesla emblem won't be directly in the center of the steering wheel. Just simple things that most people won't really look at, but people who value the quality and craftsmanship of a car would be like, bro, what the fuck? Like,
No,
this is
that's yeah,
lazy.
that's real. That's real.
And
They,
that's my only problem with Tesla. Other than that, like you said, they're good technologically when it comes to making a car, but when it comes to like the base level of like a Honda Civic or a Nissan Altima, like I feel like they have the gift,
I
bro.
mean, they've been doing this for how many years compared to these legacy automakers?
Yeah.
They don't have. They're not going to get the aesthetics, but there's going to be a boom in this understanding of gas is only going to get more expensive, right? So
Right.
whether it's Tesla or not, electric cars are coming, right?
For
I mean,
sure.
all the legacy automakers know that electric cars are coming
I
because
mean,
they've
shit,
all
they made an electric Mustang.
yeah, they've sworn to move to like a certain percentage of electric vehicles produced, within the next year. So like everybody knows that electric vehicles are coming. What I
No,
don't
for
think
sure.
people realize is how much Tesla is going to be the leader in it, because there's a whole other conversation that there's several conversations that haven't been had. One would be the charging network,
Yeah.
because you have to go just like we get gas for our vehicles. You want to feel comfortable to be able to drive out and charge your car anywhere and then be able to get back home. You don't want to just solely focus on charging your vehicle at home. And Tesla's charging network is the only thing that's as reliable and as efficient and as quick charging that's out there. Some of the other Ford
Ah,
opportunities and everything, if the chargers aren't exactly always working, they not always a proper amount, and even though it'll charge, it's not charging at a fast enough rate that's worthwhile.
the only thing about that is the charging network that Tesla does have is vastly only provided in urban areas,
Yeah,
which is fair to a certain point. But how are you going to branch out to a new market if you're only um supplying a need to a certain different demographic?
Right.
Like if I want people to like Elon Musk, he made a Cybertruck. If I actually want farmers to use my Cybertruck for farming or towing or any need that's off-roading, how can I trust this if I live in a rural area
That's what I'm saying. Like I was just talking to somebody about this the other day. Like I can't bring a Tesla to Fort Valley.
at all?
Like if I
not
bring a Tesla
currently.
to Fort
No,
Valley,
yeah, I agree.
I'm getting stuck out here.
Like, I
I
mean, because they
agree.
have a supercharge station at Warner Robins, but
Yeah, it's I think the closest thing is Warner Robins and Macon.
what
Don't
if I
they
Yeah,
got?
have like maps though? Don't they have like
yeah,
maps to
yeah,
like plot out the destinations
yeah.
and
It
stuff
does
like
all
that?
You would
that.
literally have to drive
AR,
15 miles just to charge that bitch.
I
When the
mean,
R&R
unless you
across
had
the street
yeah.
give you gas.
but gas is like $3.50 right now, bruh. Like on some real stuff.
Hey, I told him
What's
my
the
car.
sacrifice?
I told him my
Bro,
car. I
I'm
ain't got
sitting.
to deal with
I
that shit
filled
no
up
more.
my car today and I almost cried, bro. I almost cried. I'm sitting here like, bro,
But
that
you're
doesn't make
completely right.
sense.
And here's just the thing, right? If you're going to start selling a product,
Yeah.
right? Who do you sell it to? Do you sell it to the people who work, for 80%, or do you sell it to the 1 and 2%?
You sell it to the 80%.
Yeah, and then
But
you figure out how to expand from there.
yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Like you have to figure out how to expand. Cause I feel like they've hit the target with the 80% that they're trying to reach. Like
They
if you
have
go to the suburban mom
more demand
demographic,
than they have
I
supply.
mean,
They have way more demand than they have supply. Yes.
but all right, so to end the podcast, I would like to ask you
Sure.
one final question. What is your end goal?
What's my end goal? Oh, the hardest question. The question I ask myself every day. And I was saying this a little bit earlier. I find myself right now very troubled because I I'm really trying to make sure I understand what it is and that I'm making the right decisions for it. But I think at least my end goal, let's say I make it to like 90 plus, right? I would love to have done something that has created a dramatic shift in understanding of what education needs to be what public education needs to be in America. And what that kind of looks like to me is that we create spaces where children are excited to learn. They're excited to come to these spaces and educate themselves, and share in their own education, participate in their own education, decide in their own education. And if I can do that, that's the goal. And in there, yeah, sure, throw in family, kids, and everything. I would love to have the opportunity to have those experiences and go on trips and stuff, all that personal things. But end goal really is that I have changed the way that we look at education, public education, and therefore have provided what would be, because I forget who said this, but education is like the great equalizer, right? And if I've found a way to provide that quote unquote equal education to everybody, or the education that people need, so that might be more equitable education, um, then I would have felt like I've achieved what I'm supposed to do here.
Alexander Lowe, everybody. Thank you for sitting down with us.
We have reached the end of this podcast. Thank you for listening to Millions. Like, subscribe, comment. If you have any suggestions for us, let us know in the comments below. We have open ears at all times. Trey, you want to leave him with something?
It's deeper than a podcast, and you just sat down with us. Thank you for listening to Millions. We have new episodes coming. Stay tuned.